In the tumultuous decade of the 1970s, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, would leave an indelible mark on global politics and economics. Amidst a backdrop of Cold War tensions, the Arab-Israeli conflict, and the quest for energy independence, OPEC's bold actions would reverberate across the world. The story begins in October 1973, with the Yom Kippur War erupting in the Middle East. Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack on Israel, igniting a conflict that would quickly draw in many regional and global powers. Among these powers was OPEC, composed of 13 nations, primarily from the Middle East, who decided to use their strategic resource, oil, as a political weapon. As the war raged on, OPEC members began to significantly reduce their oil production and exports to countries that supported Israel during the conflict. This move was aimed at applying economic pressure on the Western world, with a particular focus on the United States, as a means to demonstrate their disapproval of the support given to Israel. The consequences of this decision were immediate and profound. The global oil market plunged into chaos, as oil prices skyrocketed from $3 per barrel in 1972 to $12 per barrel by December 1973. With oil supplies dwindling, gas lines snaked around the blocks, and consumers faced rationing, higher prices, and increased unemployment due to shuttered factories. The energy crisis had arrived, and it threatened to disrupt the global economy. The United States, as the world's largest consumer of oil, was hit particularly hard. President Richard Nixon established the Federal Energy Office to coordinate the nation's energy policy, and enacted emergency measures such as the 55 miles per hour speed limit and the suspension of daylight saving time in an attempt to conserve fuel. The oil embargo lasted for 6 months, eventually ending in March 1974 when OPEC members gradually resumed oil exports to Western nations. However, the damage had been done. The oil embargo had exposed the vulnerability of the Western world's dependence on foreign oil and served as a catalyst for a renewed focus on energy independence and conservation. In the years following the embargo, the United States and other countries embarked on ambitious programs aimed at reducing their reliance on oil, such as the development of alternative energy sources, energy-efficient vehicles, and stricter fuel economy standards. The oil crisis of the 1970s had brought a new sense of urgency to the global energy landscape, and OPEC's bold actions would continue to shape energy policy for decades to come. Yet, the legacy of the oil embargo extends beyond energy policy. The crisis served as a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of the global community, as the actions of a few nations could have far-reaching consequences for the world's economies. It also underscored the importance of diplomacy and the need for dialogue in resolving conflicts, rather than relying on economic coercion as a means of settling disputes. As we look back on the oil embargo of 1973, we see a pivotal moment in history, one that forced nations to re-evaluate their energy priorities and diplomatic strategies. The oil embargo may have caused economic hardship, but it also spurred innovation, fostered diplomacy, and ultimately, contributed to a greater understanding of the complex interplay between politics, economics, and energy in the modern world.